Hi everybody, it's Miriam and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm making a video because someone asked me to tell them why and how I ended up in the Czech Republic, and so this is my story. So let's get started. Today I'm out here in the park walking my dog and letting him run around the park and socialize with other dogs. And to tell you the truth, I never ever thought that I would be here. It's not because the Czech Republic's a bad place. It's just that Czech Republic and my life path, they were like two different trajectories that I thought would never cross. I didn't think we had anything in common, so I thought. I'm a kid, born in the 60s, teen in the 70s, which were the best years in America, at least, as far as I'm concerned. I'm a wife, mother, sister, friend. And as time goes by in life, you look back and you realize that you've done a lot of things. Things start to add up after a while. And before you know it, here you are in retirement. Like most folks, I went to university. I earned a bachelor's degree in science. I started on the master's degree after working in the field for many, many years and decided that that's not really what I wanted to do the rest of my life, even though I did it for my whole career. You see, my mother was an artist. She went to Chenard's art school, which later became Cal Arts. My father, he was a jazz musician, but a butcher. And he did his jazz music on the side on weekends, weekend gigs here and there with other musicians. So we had all kind of musicians, professional, tromping through our home. My brother's also a musician and played with some of the biggest bands around in America. I was an incredibly shy kid, and I used to draw a lot. My mother, the artist, she would draw us pictures on giant butcher block paper, and she'd put us in the backyard and tell us to water paint it or color it in, and we'd spend our days out there until it was, school year age for us to go to school. In my formative years, I wanted to go to the Lee Strasberg School for Acting. Why? Because I had seen Barbra Streisand in Funny Girl when I was 8 years old. But life got in the way, and my aunt told me when I was about 12 years old, finish high school first. That sounded like a good idea when you're 12 years old. I went to private school for about 8 out of the 12 years of my life. Catholic school. The nuns with the black habits, the old school look. And then, when I was just about to turn 18, my mother, who was 47, had a heart attack and died on Thanksgiving morning. I did CPR on her. Well, I had just learned CPR, but the paramedics came and pushed me aside and took over. But anyway, then our home didn't feel like a family anymore. My father, he felt kind of lost, and my older siblings, they all kind of drifted into their own way and their own path in life. I couldn't be a kid anymore. It was time to grow up and think about what you want to do with your life. I became a medical crew member for the military. Aerovac, medevac. Where you go in and you extract the wounded and fly them somewhere else.
It's back for pulling your flag.
What about over there? Over there?
Yeah. I once sat in the cockpit with the pilots while our plane was being refueled by a KC-135. Now that's an experience you'll never forget. A giant KC-135 plane right on top of your plane, and the pilot said, "Whatever you do, don't accidentally touch my seat. Because when the planes fly apart, our wings could clip," and basically that's it. I mean, it was a very interesting experience. How many people can say they've done that? I made a few short films that did well. A lot of the scripts did garner attention. But by the time they got into the producer's hands, something always happened that had nothing to do with the script. Producers would start arguing amongst each other about how they wanted it filmed or what their vision was for it. Sometimes budgeting was an issue. The producer had one budget in mind, the studio had another. So things stopped. So then, as I was working full-time in the daytime, at night, I went to cinematography school. I thought, okay, I'll learn how to use the camera. I'll make my own short films on my own and see where that goes for fun, for creativity. I went to the cinematography school in Los Angeles that Vilmos Zsigmond founded, and I worked and was trained by a lot of Hollywood ASC cinematographers. I was the oldest student there, but it didn't matter because those were some of the best years of my life. And also, they wanted me to succeed, so they would help a lot. The younger students, they helped me, and I learned a lot, which I don't hardly use anymore, but I still did it. And I still have my diploma. I would drive 2 to 3 hours to class after working all day, and I did it every day. And it didn't even feel like work because I was energized. It was exciting. Like I said, I'm a kid from the 60s. And in the 70s, Streisand was one of the biggest stars ever to hit the planet. And she was like one of my favorites, as a filmmaker. I fell in love with her talent and I dreamed of meeting her. And the day came that I did. I went to Hollywood premieres of her movies. This is recently, not in the 70s. This happened around 2010 and 2011. I went to her premieres of their movies, and one day I was eating with, other actors and actresses at the Polo Club in Hollywood, and then the next day I'm back at work, back to my 9 to 5. One day I'm with her on set and other actors, and I'm talking to her in her dressing room and having deep conversations, and the next day I'm back at my 9 to 5 in a whole different reality timeline. It was so surreal. I was living 2 contradictory lives at the same time. For the Streisand endeavors, that's actually kind of how I ended up in Czechia. You see, my spouse was also a Streisand file. And my spouse actually played a yeshiva boy in the movie Streisand's film Yankee, when it was filmed in the old Czechoslovakia in 1983. Then my spouse had been in the United States studying art at a university and later also became an American. We met and we took it from there. We lived all over the place, all over the West Coast, California, all over California, San Diego, Los Angeles, Inland Empire. San Diego was our favorite. The beach, right there, very handy. And then we bought a home, remodeled it, was making it ours. Everybody knows what was happening in America. America was becoming not so fun anymore. Not the America that I remembered. My spouse decided that maybe we should go back to their country because they knew the system. We already had a home there, and it would be a soft landing for us till we could figure out the rest of what we wanted to do with our life or where we wanted to be. My spouse was very concerned about the way things were going in America. After they had lived most of their life being locked in their country. And then they finally got out, and things changed, came to America, happy, joyful, and then things started kind of happening there like that happened in the past. So they became very concerned and said, maybe we should consider leaving. So that's my story. That's how I ended up in the Czech Republic. And so now I'm here and still figuring things out. And as things change, as life updates, I update it here. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. See you next time.